everybody, and welcome back to the I Don't Know Running podcast, where we share our experiences and make running fun and sometimes not so fun. I'm Lewis. I'm a self-admitted lazy ultra runner who's too busy to run right now.
And I am not a lazy ultra runner. I like to run,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty much not running. And not by my choice. And if I had my choice, I would still be running on a peg leg. And
Instead, I was. Yeah, apparently. Instead, you're wearing a cowboy boot or something.
I'm wearing a boot.
Yeah.
Frickin' Terrence.
He hurt you?
No, I think I hurt
He
myself.
injured you?
No. Well, yeah, it's his fault. He didn't give me the answer I wanted to hear. He's like, no, he didn't say it's fine, keep running. He said, no, we need to shut it down.
That's pretty good.
So I'm wearing a boot.
You have not ran this week
since
Monday.
And then he gave me the news Monday night.
Shut it down because you have a race.
I have a race next weekend. So when this comes out, yeah, that'll be the Sunday of the race.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We have,
So I'll be running that day.
Yeah.
Hopefully not wearing a boot.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see him a couple times next week. We're going to kind of evaluate and figure out
what you can do. When are you? So you're not running this weekend either.
I don't think so.
You can't run.
I'd like to, but
it's basically inflammation. It's not a.
Oh yeah, he said he was pushing in there, and he's like, it doesn't feel the same. Like after pacing, and then running a marathon, and then running for a week. He's like, then hiking, and I think hiking put a different strain on it. But it kind of started where it really flared up was when I did
skydiving.
Yes. Should have never done that.
Should have never done that. That's what it was.
Should have never done that. I think I blacked all that out. But no, I think it was when I did T-Rex going off-road on the trails like that. I think it put a little bit more strain on it, and then it just kind of built from there. And that's where I started. Like, it was painful but manageable, and I think it's been a lot worse.
Because you mentioned upstairs, you have been kind of nursing this since February.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah. I thought it was going to go away.
Yeah, it did not. Keeps getting worse.
Well, it wasn't really getting worse. It was just kind of staying the same.
You're now wearing a boot.
Well, it got worse based on activity.
Most recent activity.
Different activity. So
yeah, true. So what we're saying is skydiving is bad for running.
Yeah, it's because I jumped out of that damn plane. That's why. I didn't land on my feet, but
yeah,
whatever. I think it was the way I was hanging there in that harness.
Yeah, that must be it.
Must be it. Had nothing to do with running.
You had the wrong kind of shoes on. Well, I mentioned I've been too busy. It's not just
busy.
I am busy. I have added a lot to my plate recently, but also injury. I mean, I'm still nursing that ankle. I wanted to get out a couple times this week, but it's funny.
We're the opposites on that. I'll run on a peg leg, and you won't.
Well, I definitely listen to my body more than you do, and give it rest. But it's partly I know rest is good for it, but I also am running, and I was running. But I could feel it. So I'm like, well, if I can take a day off extra, take a day off extra. And I've been busy with other things. So it's been fine. But now I am at the point where, like Woodstock, we talked about that. A couple of things.
We talked about it off air, but we were just talking about that. And you said it's a no-go that weekend. Work is not going to allow it.
Yeah, not going to. It's a bad week for me to be able to do that.
Right.
And to commit to that and sign up for it, like maybe there's an outside chance where everything's done. We're good to go 100%, where I'm like, Friday, I go, hey, I can shoot down there and do a marathon or something like that.
And I'm really probably, because it's not a new state, I think I'm just going to go to support my friends.
Yeah.
I might volunteer,
crew, or
I think I'll volunteer or do something along those lines and try to help out and not do it because I need to save my leg for other stuff.
True. Yeah. So that who knows? There may be a chance I shoot down and join you.
We have room, and
yeah,
I could use some,
some extra testosterone in the trailer
because I think it's going to be very much on the female side.
Yeah, sounds like Sean, Karen, maybe Mindy.
So I have to reach out to her yet to see if she was looking for a place.
Yeah, they're doing the 50K.
I don't know what Sean is doing. That's what she was. It's marathon or 50K, but they're like for Sean specifically, it was going to be a training run. Yep. Like she wants it as a training run, and that I was sending her a message today, like, whatever pressures you put on yourself, like you have a place, cheapish, like you're not going to do that distance at home. Like I can get it if you want to try to do that distance, but the best way to do it is to do it that way and just take all the pressure off.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely helps. It is easy to stop short at home. 100%.
Oh yeah. Especially if you run by your house a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, that's the latest. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll have to see how it goes in that week. It'll be a week of decision for me. And then on top of it, the training I'm not able to get. I hope starting now, I can still feel the ankle though, but hopefully I can start building up miles again.
Because they were talking about Indiana as well, if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
So they would both be interested in that.
Well, yeah, the plan. Well, I say the plan. What I was told was 50K Woodstock, 50 mile.
Not everything is out there.
October. Oh.
So.
Oh.
It makes one of them too really nervous when you talk about how big of a distance.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever.
Throw it out there.
It's a day. It's a long day.
I hope they both listen.
Yeah. It's funny because the distances I have been told by some, I'll leave it really general, is rock solid.
I think they both are pretty tough people.
And they shouldn't be nervous about the distance. At least not the distance of 50 miles.
No matter what. You get up for a 50 mile, you're nervous, no matter how you look at it. You might know that you can get it done, but it's a big day.
Well, I think if you're healthy, you should be able to get it done. It's not a big deal. It's a long day, but here's the thing. It's so much of what we do in running is all about perspective.
Right.
If you're going into it thinking this is a 4-hour run, you're wrong and you're setting yourself up for failure. If you go into it saying this is an 8 to 12 hour day, hey, you're setting yourself up to succeed.
This is one of the things I talked to Laura after she finished the 100 miler though, this last one. Isn't it funny how you get done and your body shuts right down? Like she shut down, like it was done. And it's just funny how your mind does that. She finally gave her she was done about 2 miles before we finished, but your body just all of a sudden, like, I don't even know if I can walk to the car at this point. That's about what she did.
Yeah. And that's where the perspective, I think, just you really have to frame it right for what you're actually doing. When I have struggled in hundreds, it's usually because I have not gone into it mentally correct with what is ahead of me. It's more than a day. It just is. It's a long event. So, and I think that likewise with a marathon, with a 50K, 50 miler, whatever it is, you've got to go into it knowing truly what is ahead of you. So
leading from that, I'll kind of jump us into what you wanted to talk about. So how much does our subject lead into ultras? It's more.
Well, I think it does.
It came up because of, the way you started talking about this because of the Olympics and technology.
Yeah. With the Olympics, usually there's some discussion about technology because of the equipment that the athletes are using. But honestly, what's available. But this also comes up almost during any major, especially, like a New York or a Boston or something like that. We hear about, or London, or, the shoe technology.
And how many races have you done where you see like it's full of super shoes these days. You go to a race, it's everybody's got super shoes.
Well, or you look at the lead pack, like 90% are wearing the same shoe. Because
they're if you're in the lead pack, you better be wearing super shoes. There's no way around it.
I just think it's so funny and Nike has done a good job selling what they sell to the elites, because you see that's like the same Nike shoe on, I mean, probably not 90%, but it's a big percentage of the lead runners.
Well, you think about that. It's not just Nike. It's, like Hoka's got one.
Yeah, it is. They all have it. But Nike has done a good job selling it to the lead guys, because you look at the lead, a ton of them are wearing Nike.
In marathons, but in ultras, you start seeing Hoka come in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, this is, we wanted to pose the question of the topic of the evolution of running technology, how gear and gadgets are changing the sport. So that's
before, not to jump ahead, you want to start with shoes, but I love my Garmin watch, but GPS watch anyway.
Yeah.
But that's been around for 15 years.
Yeah, it's been around a while.
Where I've had one anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been around a while. That's, I don't even know. I mean, you take actual GPS, that goes way back. That's been around.
Yeah, but that's where, remember the guy that'd show up and he had that thing that was the size of my phone?
Yeah.
And you got to set it out for like 10 minutes to try to catch the satellite before you can run.
Yeah.
We've come a long ways from that.
We have. So we're just going to throw out some topics and discuss them. So the historical perspective, and this is what it says: evolution of running shoes from minimalist designs to cushioned carbon fiber plated models, and the transition from a simple stopwatch to the GPS watch that Mitch discussed or just talked about.
What's funny about that, if you think about it, like, remember the Olympics where the guy wore two different shoes way, way long ago, or at least reading the story about it, because it was before I was born probably. But
because of the outside versus inside?
But no, because he couldn't afford it. But
to
think about that, there was just cushioned shoes as a jump ahead in technology.
Yeah.
Because when they were probably running barefoot.
Well, yeah, they did. Like, there's a video I watched. It's pretty interesting. If you just search, I'm trying to think what it was. I can't think of the name of it, but basically they broke down the new Nike carbon. Well, it's not even about the carbon. I mean, it is a carbon plated shoe, but it's interesting how they banned a specific, they put in place wording that would limit how much energy return you can get from a shoe.
Which is funny. What's the difference? Like, why, if it's available to everybody, why stop it?
Well, and so here's the thing.
Put motors on them damn things.
They had to, it was an interesting video because it did talk about that specifically, and it said it has to be available to the public a certain number of weeks before the race. And the reason is because then it is truly available to everybody. If it's not, then it's not. I mean, you can't put shoes. Well, I shouldn't say you can't. I think it's an interesting discussion to say Nike is doing their research and development and going to put it on their athletes, but the marathon or the USATF or whoever does all the ruling for races like that says, no, you can't do that. It's got to be available to the general public in order to be a legit legal shoe for this race.
I tell you though, shoes are different. Like,
they're way different. Like today, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, compared to, when they came out, I was like, not
on board.
I was not on board because I wasn't going to spend $300 on a pair of shoes that is good for 100 miles.
Right. And you still won't.
I still won't because I'm doing too much. And we had this conversation, and it's funny, in my morning running group, we were talking about it one morning, and I was talking about pacing a race. And a kid was running, and he had those shoes on. And here I'm finishing, I'm running a 4:30. Like, I'm pacing a 4:30. And I'm like, why? And I said this to my group, why would he spend the money on shoes to finish at 4:30. Well, did you get a PR? Well, apparently, he was 5 hours before that. Well, it's worth it to him.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily trying to qualify for Boston, but he's trying to get a new personal record.
Yeah.
I guess they kind of schooled me on that.
I think that's a really good point. And I think that that's something that I remember saying this quite a long time ago and I still believe this. Everybody out there running that race that day, that race is as important to them as it is to the guy right at the front.
Yep.
It's 100% is important to that person.
It humbled me a little bit when they said that to me. I'm like, I wanted to fight. And I'm like, you guys have a good point.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't spend the money. I get it. Like it's dumb for what I'm doing.
For what you're doing, which is different. So like what you're doing right now is trying to accomplish 50 states, which for you then means 7 to 10, maybe more marathons a year. And what that also means...
I'm at 9 right now.
9 right now. So, 10 to 15 races, marathons a year.
Hopefully. If Terrence will give me the go.
I mean, you could probably get it done in that boot.
I think I can.
It'd be a 6-hour-ish marathon, but whatever.
It might
be a little longer.
Chafe the hell out of my leg, but I sent him a text this week. I said, how can we tape my foot to just make sure that I get this done? And he didn't even respond.
You're supposed to text him. If he doesn't respond, you text him like the next day.
I texted him again today and I said something about making an appointment and he ignored my original text. We're going to talk about this. We're still going to talk about it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So, I believe it is. It is an interesting change in the shoes. And when you do look at what they started with to what we have today, wow, it is quite a bit different.
Remember when we talked to the old dudes?
They were all for it.
And you asked them what was the biggest piece of technology, and they both said shoes.
Yeah. And it's hard to argue that when that is the single most important, probably piece of gear you can wear to physically help you.
Mm-hmm. Well, other than not getting chafed with crappy shorts.
Yeah. The next piece, I think, would be, as we discussed, is probably one of the most advanced pieces of technology that we wear as well, is wearable technology in itself. So the evolution of GPS watches, heart rate monitors, and smart wearables, which I thought was interesting. One of the things that they put under that is real-time data tracking. So how runners are using metrics like VO2 max, cadence, which I have changed a lot, and lactate threshold.
Which your watch tracks
and gives you, with the Stride, gives you immediate feedback.
Right.
Which is huge. So like for me, when I look at, I think that's a huge step forward, because before, what do? If you didn't have that technology, and it was, let's say, only recorded, or you had to like keep track in your head, or, you know what I mean? Like you'd have to go back, or you'd have to record yourself on a treadmill, or how do you track that?
My friend Perry, you've met Perry. Back before all GPS watches, he would take notes on every run.
Yeah, old school.
He's also an engineer, so he's got issues.
Oh, yeah.
So he would talk,
he'd have as much data as he can remember.
Yeah, he would have notebooks of, Yeah, we'll get him in here sometime.
To talk about his data.
Oh my gosh.
And now that's instant. Now that is not only instant for feedback, it's instant so for me,
it's instant, but at the same time, what I do like about running with a watch is that you can look at trends. You can look, like a Strava or Garmin, the Garmin Connect. You can look at all that, and you can look at, your pace. You can dig into that data right away, and you can look at your Stride that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. You can look at there's so many things in there.
It is. And what the interesting part of that is, though, when you are running and you say, oh, I feel good. Well, what's your heart rate say? Because that is true analysis. It's not just your emotion. It's not just your feeling. It is, oh, I'm at 180. Well, I don't care how good you feel. You're not going to go that far like that.
That one makes me laugh because we have a few inside jokes in our group about that. People that, will say, oh, that was an easy run. But then you look at their heart rate and their heart rate is skyrocketing. It felt easy.
Yeah.
But your body says that wasn't easy.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do that. I used to say nice, easy run, and it would be 150 or 160. I mean,
you're like,
it did feel easy.
That's not easy.
Well, it's not easy in the technical term of an easy run. Correct.
And my favorite quote from one of my friends is like, what? I'll have to come back to it. It's basically that, your body doesn't care what you think. It's basically what it says. I don't know the exact quote, but it's basically, you think that you did like it was easy, and your body's like, no, that was BS.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's maybe a feeling. It did feel easy, but yeah, your body was saying, no, it was 180 or whatever on your heart rate.
Things might have been clicking.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
But if it was supposed to be an actually easy run, it wasn't easy. You were clicking, you were able to do it, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah. And the nice thing about, again, this technology is that it's instantaneous.
And you're able to recognize that.
Yeah. The next one is training and recovery tools, which has come a long ways.
Boots,
the Normatec boots, the massage or the pressure boots, massage guns. And this was a couple of things that are interesting. Sleep trackers, which
I don't follow that.
Well, I don't use it, but it is going to tell you what kind of sleep you got. Now, if you are,
I tell you though, this week, not running, I'm getting a lot of sleep.
You're not getting up at 4 to.
I've been lazy.
Yeah, but the thing about that one is, even if you say I go to bed and I get 8 hours of sleep, that 8 hours of sleep can be two totally different things on two different nights.
True. I wonder if it shows it when my wife's, like, I don't notice this before because I get up before her, but her alarm goes off 47 times before she gets up.
It would tell you.
So I wonder if it shows 47 hiccups where it's like, are you kidding me?
It would definitely show you where you're at in your sleep cycle.
She sets it to get up to a workout that she ended up skipping this morning. I want to point that out. But her alarm went off 47 times before that.
Sounds like, yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe if you wear your watch, it'll tell you. It'll tell you what your sleep cycle is.
This is my chance to talk about my issues.
Your issues at home with the alarm clock.
Yeah, get
I
up.
mean, if you were running, that wouldn't be an issue.
I know. It's pointing out the fact,
that you're not running.
Yeah.
The next thing with training and recovery tools, this would be training, is the use of AI in creating personalized training plans based on individual data, which is really cool because you could tell.
Have you tried?
No, I haven't. But if you could tell AI to use your Strava data and create a training plan, which is pretty neat because before all you could do is hire a coach and I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not even saying it works, but it is a thing that you can do.
People should just ask me.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't want is
I'll tell them.
I'm not a coach. I can tell you what my experience is, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share my experience, but I would not want to truly coach because I don't think I would. If I'm going to do that, I want to put in the proper effort.
Right.
And I don't think I'm going to do that. So I wouldn't be fair to
so
somebody.
My response is always suck it up. Like, I think you're being soft.
I don't think that's always the answer.
That's my padded answer.
Yeah. The next one would just be data and analytics, which we've kind of talked about a little bit, but it does comment that the big data is revolutionizing running, from race strategy to injury prevention. And that makes sense. I mean, look at Stride again, how that data that you're pouring into it can give you race strategy. It can say, stay at this power for these segments of the race throughout the race.
You know, and one of the things I mentioned before before we got on is just the availability of the medical side too, of injury prevention, and being able to go in now and have professionals that have all this data to say, hey, like what we were talking about with Terrence with one of our episodes too, about when you have an injury, usually it's caused by something else. Like they don't look at just that spot, but that's all data that they've collected.
Yeah, and the amount of data that they can pull now compared to 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
The equipment that they have and the things you can get hooked up to to find out.
I was just in there on Monday. The equipment that he has in that place, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Talk about data analysis or data and the type of data he can pull from you
I felt like he set me on a couple pieces of equipment and he was judging the hell out of me.
Yeah, and think about that. Even like the anti-gravity.
Yeah. I think I might be using that on Monday.
Treadmill. Yeah. It is.
He said, come dressed to run.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is changing things. I thought this one was really neat. And I think it is really cool. The use of motion sensors and gait analysis to optimize running form. Think about that. If you think that the elites are not working on running form, they 100% are. And that's a good example of if you do want a PR and that's your goal, there are things you can do now to dial that in.
You didn't run Bayshore this year.
Nope.
Somebody pointed out to me because Zach won.
Yeah.
So, and then
again, I guess the third time,
fourth,
in a row, fourth.
Something. Yeah. So somebody pointed out, like, you ever watch somebody like that run? Like they're actually picking up their feet.
Yeah, it gets more than an inch off the ground.
Right. It made me laugh. Like they're actually running.
You can see their heel as it comes forward.
Yeah.
It's not just this shuffle.
Yeah. It's amazing to me. So how much do, any elites work on that?
Oh,
it's got to be a ton.
Yeah.
And here we're schloggers.
What's interesting is, though, when you do work on that, it can become natural.
Yeah.
The more you work on it, it's all muscle memory, that kind of a thing.
Unless you're in your 50s.
I don't know. No.
I don't know. Here's my point. Like you try to change your gait.
I try to change my cadence.
Your cadence. How did that go?
The last two runs are 180.
I know, but how did it go at first?
Well, but that's part of it. That's part of it. It doesn't. You can do it.
You learned a lesson.
Yeah. Well, that was just like couched a marathon and you just think you're going to run a marathon. You got to build up.
Right.
And I didn't build up. So it has nothing to do with age.
Yes, it does.
No.
Yes,
that was not age. That was my stupidity.
Well, yeah, because you're old and stubborn.
Not stubborn. I didn't know.
You're not stubborn?
No. I'm not stubborn. I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
This was interesting. I know Mitch is going to love this. Virtual running and races.
That's BS.
Well, here's what I like about it. Okay, I agree. I'm not for it. I've done it because that was my option for that race. I was signed up. I didn't sign up for a virtual race.
You rubbed it into the end.
Well, I thought it was fun. Yeah, because you hate it. So, of course, it's easy to rub it in. But this was interesting that they said the rise of virtual races and how they're keeping the running community connected. That's true. It did do that, especially through a period.
Now, I would agree. During COVID, we had to do something. Nobody knew what was going on.
Right.
So you had to get out and do something.
That was your option.
And that was a way to connect.
And I think...
And we, like our group connected in its own way. We did our own marathons where we just set up a course and we ran them.
Yep.
But
I do think
we didn't submit them as a virtual race, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the nice thing about it too is that from the community standpoint, when you look at that, I mean, look at Strava. There are virtual, I would say, I don't want to say virtual races, virtual competitions all over Strava, and it does build a community, brings people together. So there is a positive
that's
aspect
a good point,
to it.
though, but that's what's beautiful about Strava is you actually set up like the segments.
Yeah. Or yeah.
You don't have to run it together, but fastest time on a segment. I think that is a blast. Like you know, that you can go and do that.
Yep.
I don't own any segment, you know, like leadership, like the king of the segment, but I do have, you know, like the most.
Yeah. What's that? What is that?
Local legend.
Local legend.
I have a lot of local legends, but Rob's been taking them away from me lately because
you got to get up and run.
Makes me angry.
You got to get up and run.
Yeah, you got to actually do it.
Yeah. They talk about some augmented reality in training, which is, I mean, look at the bike. I can think of the bike. What's the bike one? There's people listening, screaming it right now.
We don't have any bikers on here. We have less swimmers on here.
Some that will know what I'm talking about. Brad would know it. I can't think of it. It's a very popular biking one where they compete. I wouldn't say that you can compete, but it's really cool. I did it for a season when I was training for tries, and you get on there and you're biking and people are passing you, you're passing people. There's runners on there. I was running as part of it for a while. And the runners are going super slow. But you're going the speed in that virtual reality. You're watching it on your screen in front of you.
If we were talking, I could probably think of it, but I can't.
I know. But anyway.
So anybody, like, we're not going to say what it actually is, but if anybody can post and say, oh, it's this.
You idiots.
Yeah. We'll remember by then, but
it's the most popular biking software.
But please call us out on it.
Yeah. I could look it up on Strava.
It's not worth it. Don't even bother.
But I think it's funny. I want to know what it is. I'm going to look it up as soon as we get off this. And then the next thing is future trends, which is always kind of neat to just look at where things are going. Speculation on future advancements in running tech, exoskeletons, advanced biometric sensors, which is really neat. Like all of that, any technology like that. This is a good question. So I'm just going to skip down to the debate and or controversy. The ethical dilemma: are these advancements leading to more equitable competition or creating new barriers? Because as the price of technology goes, I wouldn't say the price of technology goes up, but new gear, that price is expensive to get that new gear. Thus, it creates a little bit of a barrier to those that can't.
I'm really in the middle on that. So there's so many things, though. But you think about, it's not just technology, nutrition. Like we know how to fuel our bodies. So we didn't know how to fuel, but
and how, not just how, but like with what? Because back before Goose in a little packet, you actually had to eat like a banana or an orange and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get, or syrup? I think somebody said they used to eat saturated, like something with syrup, because that's quick sugar in.
That sounds good.
It does. It does sound kind of good.
Pancakes saturated in syrup.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if you could squeeze that into a goo packet, I'll bet you. Could you imagine? That's actually not a bad idea. And you just squeeze that out. It's a little chewy. Pancake.
There are certain things, I think real food sits in my stomach better, though.
Yeah.
Like doing ultras and doing real food.
Yeah, totally. Yep. And as long as you do it quick enough.
But yeah, at a certain point, nothing tastes good.
Nothing. Yeah. And
it all tastes like crap.
So yeah, just some discussion on technology and where it's going. And then this final thing, I just want to put this out there. And I totally agree with this because I've stripped it away recently. Public perception is running becoming too tech-driven and losing its simplicity. 100% think that it is. But I also think, what more can we add? We have some pretty nice technology that gets smaller. You talk about the watch, how big it used to be, and how, I mean, this is a big watch actually right now.
PAX. We talked about PAX the other, like we did a whole episode on, talking about that. But I have got, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 PAX.
Yeah.
My latest one I love. It's just, you think like you buy something, you think you're going to keep it forever. It's like,
something new comes along.
Look at that new thing that came out.
It's lighter, carries more.
Lighter, it fits better. It doesn't move. My latest one, I love that thing.
Yeah, the Salomon one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did like the looks of that. I haven't tried it. We'll have to do a more specific discussion on that one, but yeah, I think I don't know how much more we can add to what we currently have
until the next new thing
comes out. Because you look at, but what I do get frustrated with when I want to go for a run, and this speaks to this question right here, how long it takes me to get out the door because of what I have to put on. Because I got to remember to put my stride pod on my shoe. I got to make sure I grab my headphones because for me, running is not as social as it is for you. I like to go out and I like to zone out. I either like to listen to a book or listen to music or whatever. And so that's part of what I like to take with me. Well, that's more tech, right? So it does heart rate. I got to make sure I got my heart rate monitor on because I like the chest one. It's more accurate, things like that. Now I've got glasses that are specific for running because I'm old and I need readers. But I'll tell you what,
just finally admitted it.
But I'll tell you what, those glasses I have, amazing. I can read my watch perfectly now.
You know what? I don't wear any corrective wear.
Yeah, you're fortunate.
I don't know.
Count your blessings.
I think I'm just lying to myself probably at this point, but I just make it work.
Can you read your phone like right here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You count your blessings because not many people your age. Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. So anyway, just some thoughts on technology. Share with us what you think. Is it, do you agree with some of this? Do you not? Do you think we're going in a good direction? And I do think it's interesting when you look at records. What's being broken today, where would those people be 20, 30, 40 years ago if they were wearing the same stuff?
You think about it though, we're not leaps and bounds. Like the technology it says we should be a sub 2 hour marathon by this point, and it's not there.
Yeah.
So how is that?
It is. So I wonder.
So these old dudes are tough dudes.
How much faster would they have been if they had proper nutrition, proper training, all this stuff?
They were just old and stubborn.
I don't think we've gotten faster. I think technology has gotten us faster.
I would say that's true.
Yeah. Cool. Well, be sure to go check us out on Facebook, check us out on YouTube, and all your favorite listening platforms from Spotify to Audible to all those places. And share with us your love or hate for technology. But with that, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the I Don't Know Running podcast. Be sure to tune in next time as we share more about what we just don't know.
And until then, happy running.